Hi my loves, my name is Synchronicity. Thank you for tuning in to my channel, my vibration and frequency. So, I have a topic that I really want to discuss that you don't really hear a lot of people talk about, but it happens a lot and it's happened to many of us. It's so crazy that that this is even a reality, but it all has a deeper meaning and purpose. So I want to talk about sexual abuse and sexual trauma, and my main point of this video is so we can bring awareness to some of the things that might have derived from our sexual trauma and that we may now carry, and it may be masked as something else, even physical ailments. So I'm going to be hitting it from a spiritual angle, so hitting it from the spiritual blockages from those experiences, and then how in the now, in the present moment, how we might have created and built these defense mechanisms and behaviors from these spiritual blockages due to the sexual abuse, and how that may manifest as, again, physical ailments in our body when they go unhealed for a long time, when these blockages and this traumatic experience stays in your body, lingers in your body as energy, as memory, and how that can affect an individual over time. So let's get started. First and foremost, my love, I want to be clear. We are not victims of these experiences, okay? We're gonna learn how to utilize these experiences to become super empowered and strong beings that we truly are. So we are not victims. I'm not coming from that place, all right? And also, I'm not here to plant the seed either if this has not happened to you. This video is for those that it has happened to. Sexual abuse is not just physical, it can also be verbal. There's many layers to sexual abuse, but sexual abuse is sexual abuse, period, point blank. This could have happened to you whenever you were a child, an adolescent, or an adult, and it could have happened to you more than once. It could have happened to you by a friend, someone you thought was your friend, family member, or a stranger. Really, it has no boundaries, and it's so sick. Whenever these experiences happen, we feel robbed, we feel betrayed if it was done by somebody that you thought you could trust. You feel paralyzed, you feel shock, you feel anger, you feel resentment. It's just all of these heavy emotions. Because when this happens, you feel, when quite literally a piece of you gets taken. This piece of your spirit and soul gets taken. It's something that you can't even put into words, right? Betrayal, confusion, anger, resentment, pain is not even like scratching the surface of how it feels whenever you get sexually abused. But starting off from a spiritual place, right? Because that is where I want to head first. So starting off with chakras. If you don't know what chakras are, it's totally fine, babe. If you don't feel called to even learn about them, that is fine too. However, I highly recommend to look into chakra work and to chakras in general. They are very, very helpful tools when it comes to healing, and not just from sexual abuse, from anything really. And I'll connect it all together so it makes sense for you. And so yeah, so starting off with the 7 chakras, that's the only ones I'm going to go over. There are many more than 7, but just to keep it simple, each chakra has its own vibration, sound, color, element, and function and purpose, right? So, and chakras are connected to the endocrine system. So starting off with the root chakra, so think about the root chakra as the foundation for all the other chakras. So just like your home, whenever you have a strong foundation, you don't have to worry about your house collapsing on you when you're sleeping or waking up like this. So it's super important to make sure that your root chakra is balanced, because when it's imbalanced, and imbalanced chakras, by the way, are because they're either overactive or underactive. So whenever this part of ourselves gets violated, this is responsible for our sense of belonging. Okay, so we will feel like we don't belong in this world. This is also responsible for our security. So we may develop feelings of insecurities and fears. So you may go through extreme measures to keep yourself safe at all times. You may not be open to new experiences. It may be hard for you to change. It may be hard for you to come out of your comfort zone sometimes, or most of the time, right? Because if it's a big imbalance here, then you're always blocking yourself off from new experiences, trying new things and stuff like that, because you're really trying to stay safe and protect yourself all the time here. So that can be a cause of an imbalance in your root chakra, and this is connected to the lower body. So you may develop some lower back problems, hip problems, feet problems whenever these things go unresolved. And then our second chakra is our sacral chakra, and that's located below the belly button. So the first two chakras are the ones that get the most affected whenever these experiences happen. So the sacral chakra is responsible for our emotions, how we connect to people, to partners, our relationships. So when there's an imbalance here, you may find it difficult to connect with others. You may have very rocky relationships that don't work out. You know, they're really unhealthy. You may have a unhealthy relationship with your own emotions, with your own body. You may have an emotional imbalance. You may be really highly sensitive. You may already be like this anyway, but if there's an imbalance here, it may be even heightened to another level. And so that's not I'm not saying that's something to not be happy about, because being highly sensitive is a superpower when you know how to utilize it, when you have knowledge of self, gnosis. But when you don't, it can cause a lot of catastrophic moments in your life. Or you may suppress emotions, hold on to emotions. You may have problems really connecting with your emotions, yeah? So moving into, and the sacral chakra is connected to the reproductive organs. So you may have problems with fertility. You may be prone to UTI infections, yeast infections, endometriosis. Totally said that wrong. I am so sorry. And of course, I'm a woman, so I know more about those things. But for men, you can develop prostate problems too, infections on your genitals, because the sacral chakra governs the reproductive system, the genital area. So moving into the solar plexus chakra, this chakra is of soul sovereignty. This chakra is where your willpower resides, your inner strength. This chakra is connected to the fire element. So think about like putting a bunch of water into a fire pit. What's going to happen to the water, right? It's going to... So you may feel like your light is dimmed. You may be afraid to express yourself. You may have low self-esteem. You may not be as confident. You may let people walk all over you. Or you may be controlling. You may try to control everything, not just yourself, because in reality, we can only control ourselves. We only have control of ourselves. But you may be somebody that's trying to control A, B, C, D, E, everything else. So you may carry this perfectionist kind of energy. Yeah, so, and then this is connected to the gut. So you may develop digestive issues, gut issues, imbalances in your gut flora, weight gain. So this is a huge one. When a lot of people like that haven't healed from sexual abuse hold those emotions and energies in, you may develop a lot of weight gain in this area, in your lower bodies, in your lower chakras, in your stomach, and it may be hard for you to lose weight. So you may be obese, or you may just be overweight, or maybe really, really skinny, where malnutrition, right? So it can go either way. So it may be hard for you to lose weight, and not so much because of what you're doing or not doing, but because of what you're holding in, what you're trying to protect yourself from still. Yeah, because that's what fat does. So then moving into the heart chakra. So this beautiful chakra is responsible for how you love and what you love and how you love yourself, and forgiveness, compassion, all those beautiful emotions and energies, right? So whenever this chakra is blocked or overactive or underactive, it may be hard for you to let go of resentment. It may be hard for you to forgive yourself and others. It may be hard for you to, again, they intertwine, right? So with the sacral, it may be hard for you to connect with other people and love other people, especially if you don't love yourself. And then this can develop as heart problems as well. And I think the shoulders connect to the heart chakra. So holding a lot of tension in your neck, and in your shoulder area. And then moving into the throat chakra. So this chakra, for sure, if you didn't speak up when this event this experience happened to you, for you, or maybe you never did speak up or things like that, what might have happened is you might have blocked this chakra. So this chakra is responsible for expression, your voice, which is a superpower and a gift that we all have for the most part, right? So when this is imbalanced, you may have a hard time speaking your truth, standing up for yourself, expressing your emotions, expressing how you feel in a healthy manner. So sometimes you may be somebody that's explosive, so you may hold so much in that when you do speak up, it comes from a very angry place, frustrated place. Or you may not speak up at all. You may be just very, very like keep everything to yourself. You may clench onto your teeth because this governs the jaw and the throat. You may develop some thyroid issues over time, hypo or hyperthyroid. You may, have TMJ. You may grind your teeth at night. Just problems with the mouth and throat area. And then moving into the third eye, when there's an imbalance here, you may perceive the world in a very distorted way. Your imagination might have been, you may lack imagination, connection to self. You may only be really just stuck on seeing with these two eyes. Your intuition may be weak, or you may be aware of way too much, which causes you to like feel anxiety and stuff. So the third eye chakra is responsible for that, for your imagination, how you perceive the world and yourself. And then of course, if this goes unhealed, then you may develop some mental problems like depression. And then moving into the crown chakra, so this chakra at the top of our head is our connection to the spiritual realm, to our spiritual soul self, our true self, spirit. So you may feel disconnected from your spiritual self. You may be way too practical, way too stuck in your five senses. You may be somebody that's like, I need to see it to believe it type of person, right? And not judging, but I'm just saying, like, you have a spiritual nature, and that is very, very, very real. And so, or you may just completely not believe in anything at all, or, like just a bunch of those things. You may worry too much when there's an imbalance here. You may just be all over the place mentally, or you never know what to believe. You're all over the place with your belief system, or you're very hard-headed. Where do you think you get that term, hard-headed? I mean, and that goes even deeper, but just to keep it simple. So the crown chakra is connected to your nervous system. So if it goes unhealed, you may develop some neurological problems. You may have a lot of anxiety. You may have a lot of restlessness. Yeah, and that even connects to depression as well, because they all connect. So as you can see, how everything connects from a spiritual place to like a, physical, emotional, mental place. Like they all intertwine. They're all connected. So you can see if one's imbalanced, how it affects the others, and vice versa. So now leading into the other part that I wanted to discuss, and before I get into this, because I do want to talk about other things that may derive from unhealed sexual trauma, I want you guys to know, because I think it's so important to know people's intentions and where they're coming from before that gets misinterpreted. But I want you to know that I am not coming from a place of judgment, okay? However, we decided to escape from this traumatic experience or experiences was what was needed at the time, because we might have not had guidance or the people we could trust to open up to or to guide us out of these experiences in a healthy way. So I am not judging you for your choices at all. I am just bringing to light some of the things that might have been connected from these, that might be connected from sexual abuse, okay? So just putting that out there before I go on any further. Now, something else that may derive from sexual trauma is eating disorders. You might have developed an eating disorder over time. Again, obesity, binge eating, anorexia, all of those things, right? Another thing is sometimes when these experiences happen for you, the way you might have reacted or responded was to entirely close yourself off sexually and sensually. So what that means is you might just be somebody that's very uncomfortable with even the word sex. Even if I just say sex, you immediately like want to close yourself in, like shut off. Then again, that may indicate a blockage, because being sexual and sensual is a part of our nature. So you might have wanted to like cut that part out of your life. You may be somebody that feels really uncomfortable around the opposite sex, or to be very, you know, I'm not saying like, you know, people that want to show their skin and not show their skin is, you know, their own choice. But what I'm saying is, when you hold on to guilt and shame around it, that's when there may be a blockage there. In fact, that's a huge indication that there is a blockage surrounding that topic. So you might have closed off entirely, or you might have dived into promiscuity. So you might have, you know, intertwined yourself with many other individuals back to back to back to back, you know. And again, I am coming from a spiritual place. I believe that sex is very sacred, and because I do know the spiritual nature behind sex, the deeper meaning behind sex, then I know it's a very, very spiritual practice to do with someone that you love. So whenever we're engaging with other partners, know that you are taking all of that energy in from other people. And if you're not spiritually inclined, you're holding on to all these other individuals' energies and fluids within your body and taking them as your own. So if you're already feeling imbalanced and off within, you're gonna feel even more so, because you're not aware that you are doing this to yourself internally, right? So again, this is not to judge this is right and that is wrong, blah 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 blah. No, what I'm saying is to bring light into this. See how maybe the way that we might have carried ourselves, you know, since then to now, how those things might connect back to that unhealed trauma. Now, another thing is, you may be somebody that's very sexually manipulative, so you use your sexual natures to get what you want. Another thing is, you may be in a relationship, or might have been in past relationships, where sex was a problem, where sex was an issue, where maybe you didn't speak up on what you want or what you like or don't like, or, you know, one, like, you feel rejected, or they felt rejected, or you would always say no, or, you know what I'm saying, just sexual issues between you and your partner can indicate unhealed sexual trauma within yourself. So again, man, guys, I'm, like I said, I keep looking down because I have my notes here and they're flying everywhere, but yeah, guys, I want to be clear though, just because you checked yes to a lot of the things that I said, that doesn't mean that for sure it's coming from sexual trauma. I'm just saying that some of these things might be from sexual trauma, okay? Because you only know the truth. You'll know within, as you meditate, as you go within and, you know, self-reflect, if these things did in fact come from this wound. Yeah, so if they do connect, then you'll have more of an awareness on how to heal and what is the best way for you to heal, because we're all different. And so now I'm gonna get into the next part of this video, which is the main reason why I even created this in the first place.